हेलो नमस्ते, मैं दिलीप सिंह देशमुख आप सभी का स्वागत करता हूँ विश्व शांति दर्शन में। आज हम उपस्थित हैं वर्ल्ड पीस डोम में, जिसे दुनिया भर में एक शांतता का प्रतीक माना जाता है। यहाँ पर आज होने जा रही है 4th नेशनल ऑन मीडिया एंड जर्नलिज्म कॉन्फ्रेंस।
Deliberations about the role of media as a negotiator of peace.
इस नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस का दूसरा दिवस है। इस नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस में एक्सपीरियंस और दिग्गज मीडिया पर्सनैलिटीज़ को आमंत्रित किया जाता है। यहाँ पर आकर वो स्टूडेंट के सामने अपने मत व्यक्त करते हैं। हर दिन इस नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस में अलग अलग सब्जेक्ट्स के ऊपर अपने मत व्यक्त किए जाते हैं और स्टूडेंट्स को प्रेरित किया जाता है। तो आइए इस नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस में देखते हैं आज क्या हुआ।
On the second day of 4th National Conference on Media and Journalism, organized by MIT University Pune, thought-provoking sessions on different themes were arranged. Renowned personalities from the field of media were invited for the conference, where they shared their thoughts on different themes in the sessions. Let's have a look at glimpses of second day sessions. The theme for first session was documenting past, present and future. The first session was moderated by Mr. Mukesh Sharma, the CEO of Vishwa Shanti Darshan channel.
Now today's subject what we have here is primarily how the documentary filmmakers can help us in building world peace. About inclusiveness, about dialogues, of course for the peace. I have been making films, documentaries and of course feature films. But I find today one good trend which is coming out from a non-fiction and a fiction is the birth of biopics. Now if you see, the biopics are typically a documentary, yet it's not a documentary. Because you have the freedom to do the drama the way you like, to change the narrative the way you like. Yet you can live the character, you can make it live. And that is why today the biopics are becoming a hit. So it's a combination of the two. Coming back to our own subject of documentaries, the only I would say government organization which have been helping us with the documentaries has been Films Division. Now Films Division came up in 1948, just after the independence. And their primarily job was to ensure that whatever the good or the indifferent or the bad work or whatever work the government is doing, they must do a tom-tom of it, a propaganda sort of thing. But they must inform apart from that everything is hunky-dory, we have got a freedom and we are doing nice.
And the speakers for the first session were K.S. Sridhar.
The new media is helping to bring out more stories. Earlier, when you had filmmaking as an option, if you want to think of filmmaking, you had to shell out a lot of money. Celluloid was the only option. And to think of making a film, you first have to think of how to produce it, how to fund it. And documentary films especially, it's very hard to fund a documentary film. So the mediums now is after film you got video technology and then the digital, and now even on the mobile you can shoot a film. The main thing is now what story you want to tell. It's not the medium. You can shoot a film on a mobile and you can still show it to the world. So that has helped. So I think because of this technology, more and more stories are coming up.
And the speakers for the first session were Miriam Chandy Menacheri.
Being documentary filmmakers, I think we have a responsibility to say that if it's a sort of a fast food culture where everyone's trying to grab headlines and put it out, and people are consuming that, and documentary on the other hand, I see it as slow incubated projects over a long timeline which give people the chance to interact with nuance, and I think that is what is missing in the way we are informed. You know, we are kind of taking away the headline.
And the speakers for the first session were Farah Khatun.
I mean, if we talk about news, we are so bombarded with so many information. Some are good, some are bad, and some are very ugly as well. You know, which plays a definite role in fragmenting the society. But I think there are a huge possibility, especially because of new media. There are immense number of pages, YouTube channels where you see news of different kind. They are not trying to give us a information that will that will be inaccurate, or trying to just to get more TRP, just to be on the limelight. They are not trying to give us some wrong information without even checking. So I think that possibility is definitely there, but what we want to take is definitely within us, and accordingly we channelize what we want to see and what we don't want to see.
And the speakers for the first session were and Shilpi Gulati.
The idea of new media, we as scholars talk about what is so new about new media. From celluloid, there was a moment where we shifted from celluloid to video. That was new media at that time. A few years later, we went into digitization, and that's what we are all grappling with regard to our archives, what we produce, how we exhibit, etc. And we obviously now have what I call the beast of the internet in front of us. It has immense possibilities. I don't know if we are fragmenting today more than we were before, but I know that, was just said, the possibilities of us uniting is so much more today because we are connected in so many other ways, virtually, digitally, online, through this new media that we have, which I think we can activate to our advantage.
The theme for the second session was Changing Mediascape, the Credibility, Revenue and Technology. The moderator for this session was Dheeraj Singh, Director, School of Media and Communication, and the participants for the panel discussion were Prachi Kulkarni, Samrat Fadnis, Yogesh Joshi.
So the technology has been in a state of flux since the time of the first printing press, and that is the reality. And today, the technology is also taking a further leap with the coming of new technology mechanisms. And once again, we are at a very important and critical juncture of the media, where technology is not only defining the job profiles of people working in a media organization, it is also defining, or in a sense, redefining content. It's a very important juncture for, especially for people who have spent long years in understanding and creating content.
Many a times it happens that we get videos recorded by people, they send it across and they say, can you air this story? But how do we verify verify the authenticity of that particular video? We have to cross-verify, we have to talk to multiple people and then send it across and then get the story done. Any individual recording any particular incidents and uploading it on the social media platform doesn't necessarily have to think about all these things. Like if you are uploading something on Twitter, obviously Twitter comes with a lot of opinions of individuals. So verifying the facts is the biggest challenge that everybody is facing today.
So I had been trained to pursue the credibility, truth. What is important for my audience, what is important for my society, and I am trained to produce that kind of content against the social media influencer. That content is important, but I may not have that kind of training to pursue the truth journalism values. So these two kind of media platform will have much challenges in going ahead, not just in 2022, but I believe that it will take more than 8 to 10 years to establish whether the institutionalized media is important or the personalized media. There are no differentiation in between them.
30 years ago, if the journalist was asked whether he or she should have a knowledge of how the newspaper is printed at the printing press, and if the answer was no, that would have still been fine for him to be qualified as a journalist, because his job was only to write stories or edit stories and that's it. Now, if journalist doesn't understand the characteristics of new media platform, he might become obsolete. So a journalist has to understand the media, the changing landscape of media, as much as he needs to know his craft. That's the main difference. That's the unique part of it.
It is indeed my honor and privilege to welcome Shri Rapulu Anand Bhaskar ji, the ex-MP and former journalist, on the stage with a huge round of applause, who will deliver a very insightful speech on 75 years of media. May we have a huge round of applause for Shri Rapulu Anand Bhaskar ji.
Now we are already into the 76th year of our independence. We are the children of the freedom. We are under this mini cosmos, reflecting the whole of the universe. If we wander around, parikrama, pradakshana, knowingly or unknowingly, outside and inside, it is having larger, greater, deeper impact. This benefit you are having, and hope you are getting enriched with this.
Followed by these two sessions, there were a third session which was moderated by Samiran Valvekar, Director, International School of Broadcasting and Journalism. And the participants for this session were Raghavendra Verma, Mubarak Ansari, T. Surender.
And now, without any further delay, let's begin this exciting session. I now hand over the session to our respected moderator, Shri Samir Valvekar ji. Over to you, sir.
Content is always king. It will be king forever. You change your technical medium, you change your treatment, you change your platforms. Maybe it's a web platform, maybe it's a television channel, DTH, whatever, or optic fiber, it's coming now. Content is always king. As far as you are catering good quality content, what people need, which relates to their life, with the help of your journalistic skills, that is always important, and people want that.
The most important thing here is that we have to learn, and we have to keep evolving and keep learning the new technologies and how to reach our viewers. So it's very important whenever I write a story or we produce news, what you have to keep in mind that who are your audience or your readers. For financial papers will be different, for general news, for television, blog. So they will be very different, and your approach to write or report or make news, television news, would depend on that.
If you want to be a journalist, you should be ready to go and meet people. It can't be done sitting in the room, sitting at home. अगर आप नहीं मिलना चाहते हैं, so you should change the sector or change the job profile. अगर आपको जर्नलिस्ट बनना है, you have to go meet people, चाहे बारिश हो, धूप हो, कुछ भी हो. You should first understand the job profile of the medium in which you want to work. There is no substitute for hard work, and you should be always ready to go and meet people and report things if you are a journalist. There are other job roles also which you can do if you don't want to go on the field. But जैसा मैं बताया गया, एक जब बातें हैं आप यहाँ कोर्स करने के लिए या कोई भी जर्नलिज्म कोर्स में जाते हैं, तो देयर इज अ थिंग कि आप जर्नलिस्ट ही बनना चाहते हैं. एंड जर्नलिस्ट वही हैं जिसको आप देखते हैं टीवी पर, या आप देखते हैं कि वो रिपोर्टिंग कर रहा है, वही देखकर आप यहाँ पे आए हैं. सो यू शुड बी एबल टू डू दैट.
New media, not because the content is the same, not because if you look at it from the content point of view, it is the same. I haven't changed as a journalist. I'm doing the same thing. I'm calling up corporate chiefs. I'm getting their interviews. If they do something wrong, I just write about them, and that's what I did always, right? But still, I feel something is new with the media that I'm doing today, only because the medium is absolutely changed. In my magazine, when I write my story, nobody would come back to me and say, what have you written? In the Times of India, tens and thousands of people will read a good article, but I would not get a single feedback ever. It was a one-way medium. Nobody ever called you and told you, look, you have done a good story, right? So in the new medium, that's the fundamental difference. It's a two-way medium always. You thought that television was a two-way medium. It is not a two-way medium. It was always somebody saw a television and just went back, right?
आज 4th नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस ऑन मीडिया एंड जर्नलिज्म का दूसरा दिवस समाप्त हुआ। कई सारे दिग्गज पर्सनैलिटीज़ ने अपने मत व्यक्त किए। प्रोग्राम में उपस्थित कई सारे स्टूडेंट्स ने मान्यवरों के सामने अपने प्रश्न रखे।
Talking about censorship, so how do you, as a filmmaker, how do you strike that perfect balance between actually showing the reality or fiction and your social responsibility towards the audience as to what?
तो मिलते हैं कल 4th नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस के आखिरी दिवस पर। तब तक के लिए बने रहिए विश्व शांति दर्शन के साथ।